So welcome to my game of the year, and what a year it has been. There's been so many incredible games, and the year really blew my expectations. I thought it was going to be a bit of a quieter year. I was wrong for sure. I will ask you guys, what is your game of the year? The one game that stood out to you when you played it and you said, this is it. This is my game of the year. Let me know down below.
Let's do this.
And for me, I gotta admit, this was a close race. It really was. There was a couple of other games that when I was playing them, I'm like, this is game of the year. This is absolutely it. But then I'm like weighing it all up and I'm like, so one of the runners up was definitely Astro Bot. This game blew away my expectations. I thought it'd be a lot of fun. I thought this is gonna be a great action platformer game. I didn't realize the level that they would take it to. And yes, it borrows heavily from Mario games and other action games, but why not steal from the best to create something brand new? And there's a lot of brand new stuff in here. And I gotta admit, this is a great family game, and I've never said anything like that on the channel before, but my 4-year-old daughter was sitting there with a fake controller pretending to play this game because it captured her imagination, and it really is a great game for families or just for yourself playing it. Going around capturing all the Astro Bots was a heck of a chore at times and really challenging. This game starts off very easy and then gets super challenging later on, and I always was coming back to it. I'd be sitting there firing up the PS5 going, one more Astro Bot, one more Astro Bot. But as I said in my review of this game, I was smiling the entire way through with the gigantic boss encounters, all the amazing things you could do, some of the puzzle solving, really a lot of fun, and a high recommendation. This is a game of the year. And oh my gosh, for JRPG fans, this was a great year. And this one was so close. When I was playing it, I'm like, this is game of the year. This is game of the year. And that is for Final Fantasy VII Rebirth. Now, this is the continuation from Final Fantasy VII Remake, and some of the problems I had with Remake was it really held your hand a lot of times, where this game completely let you off the leash and you could completely run around in a free environment. And I always love that in an RPG, the exploration. And also going back to those characters that we love so much from the original Final Fantasy VII, but yet set in kind of an alternate timeline where some different things carry out.
I'm back.
This one was hard for me because this should be game of the year, and it's very, very close. It's right there. It's right there. I had a really good time playing this game during the year. Really emotional to revisit the story and these characters after so much time. And now we have, drum roll please, my game of the year is, here's the special edition, Metaphor ReFantazio by Atlas. A game that I was hyped for, but sometimes you can have a lot of hype and the game will let you down. Oh my gosh. When I got to play the game finally, it lived up to all those expectations, and there were some expectations for sure. I honestly thought this game wasn't going to do very well. And I was really kind of scared about that because I'm playing it, I'm like, this game is fantastic. This is a great JRPG. It's up there, top tier JRPG. And I'm thinking, are any people going to play this game? Because of the name. The name is so weird and off-putting, Metaphor ReFantazio. It doesn't just kind of slide off the tongue. It does for me now. But when I originally heard the title, I'm like, what is this? When I originally saw the game, I'm like, is this Persona 6? What is this, an Xbox exclusive? I didn't really know what to make of it. And then during the summer, I got obsessed with listening to the music of the game, the battle music. And that took on a life of its own. I started doing art for the game and some fan art. And I started to really build up some hype.
Come on, kid.
I was buying Famitsu magazines, looking through that. And I think looking at the game from the outside of just the art style and what it was looking like, I'm like, this game is gonna be amazing. But I'm thinking, is it gonna catch on? And so I made it my mission to really promote this game because I wanted it to succeed. And especially when I played the game, I'm like, yeah, this game needs to succeed.
Scour!
Because Atlus had a plan for this. They have the Shin Megami Tensei series, they have the Persona series, and they wanted a third pillar, and that's where Metaphor ReFantazio fit in. This wasn't just another Shin Megami Tensei game or another Persona game, this was its own thing, and they decided to make a game in the fantasy medieval realm.
You drew steel. I take it you are prepared to die by it.
Great storyline here with a king who is killed, a prince that is in a coma, and everybody is racing to be the next king.
Who shall take the throne?
And it's really big, it's really bold, and it really gets you in. And that's the other thing I want to talk about, the characters. You play as the main protagonist, really love his character design, and all of the rest of the characters. You get to hear their backstories and how they tie into this world, a real medieval world that kind of mimics our own, but yet at the same time completely doesn't. And that's what I want to say here. This game has culture. And I've said that before, I've not seen a game like this in a long time where it has its own culture. And it borrows from so many different religions and so many different countries, different aspects, different architecture. It is all brought into this game in a way that only Atlus can do. And they absolutely knocked it out of the park for me, just from a design point of view. Just the look of this game, the menus. Yes, I gotta talk about the menus before we get into the game even more. The menus are something that you're in quite a lot in an RPG. You're always going through your menus, upgrading your equipment, upgrading your characters. You're always there. But again, Atlus took it to another level. And I thought with Persona 5, I'm like, how can they outdo that? Those menus in that game were unbelievable, but they did it again. And these, I'm gonna say on the record here, are probably the greatest menus I have ever seen in an RPG in history. I've never seen such an artistic take on a menu system. I mean, it's so wild. You go in and you see characters like grabbing each other's hands, or you see a boot or a hand. I know it sounds really weird, or when you go through your menus, you see your character just kind of floating there looking up. It's weird stuff, but it works so well, and that's the thing. There's all this glue that keeps this game together, and that's the menu system. Keeps the entire game together. Never mind the combat.
The power of fire!
The combat is amazing in this game. You can jump between the foreground and background.
Falling back.
And it's all about discovering the enemy's weaknesses and taking advantage of that.
Fight that!
And when you figure out the battle system, it is so fulfilling and so fun, and you can get some battles done instantaneously. And the boss encounters were something else. They really were. Some of the bosses I would get to, and I'm like, I cannot believe the design level on some of this stuff. It's wild. It's like a painting come to real life in a video game. And I would marvel and be horrified by some of these enemies, and that's something that I really like as well. There's a kind of horrific aspect of it, and that's always been in the Shin Megami Tensei series and the Persona series as well, but it's really done well here.
Burn to ash!
And just running around the cities, exploring, jumping on your sword, and flying through the city as a way to fast travel. I really love that. I love going through the dungeons in this game, the castles, and just exploring and uncovering treasure throughout.
Still here?
One remains.
Oh, they die hard!
But again, what brought me into the game was the music, and hearing the music in the final game, I gotta say, it's my favorite JRPG soundtrack, my favorite RPG soundtrack in years, probably since Shin Megami Tensei 5, because I really love that soundtrack. This is a soundtrack, when I think it gets released in January, February, I'm picking up right away the CDs, and then the vinyls, if they release those, I'm getting them, because this is a very special game. And that's what I want to say. This is why it's my game of the year. Final Fantasy VII did everything right, and it is a game of the year, but Metaphor ReFantazio did more. and it pushed the envelope a lot more. With the menu systems, with the world, with the storyline, me and my wife have absolutely adored this game. You know, we'd be playing together, sitting on the bed going, this is just amazing. Just the attention to detail here and there, just like walking into a tavern or walking into an equipment shop, the detail there was amazing. It was all of these things that all came together, and I was just like, I was playing the game and I'm like, this is my game of the year. This is, and it was a hard one because it was Final Fantasy VII Rebirth. And Metaphor ReFantazio did so much and pushed the JRPG formula forward and made me applaud Atlas, and I applaud Atlas for this, and the game has done well. And I couldn't be any happier. I mean, I feel like a proud father of a game that was coming out with a very strange name, and I'm like, is this gonna catch on with people? Is this really gonna catch on? I hope this is a success for Atlas, because I want to see more games in this series, and I'm really thankful that it has been a success and a game that really pushed the envelope and kind of shocked a lot of us. We went in expecting something, and then we found a beautiful medieval fantasy adventure to play here with a great challenge as well.
I won't waver. Wind!
I love this game, I adore this game, I applaud this game, and it is my game of the year for 2024. And I will ask you guys, what is your game of the year for 2024? Maybe it's something that is not a JRPG, maybe it's something off the beaten path, maybe it's an indie game. Let me know down below. So anyways guys, until next time.